In this episode, we shall be comparing Uganda versus Kenya, giving you detailed comparative analysis of the living conditions, economies, and very important aspects of these countries. And by the end of this video, you shall be able to choose which country you would rather at least visit, buy a house, live, or retire. And don't forget to tell us in the comments section. Get set. Ready now? Let's begin. Demographics. Kenya has a higher population than Uganda, with approximately 53 million people compared to Uganda's 47 million. In population density, Uganda has around 229 people per square kilometer, while Kenya's population density stands at approximately 94 people per square kilometer. Uganda has a higher population density, indicating potentially greater urbanization and development pressures. Both countries experience positive population growth rates, but Uganda's rate is slightly higher at 3.32% compared to Kenya's 2.28%. This suggests Uganda's population may be growing at a faster pace. In terms of life expectancy, Kenya has an average life expectancy of around 67 years, while Uganda's is slightly lower at approximately 63 years. Uganda has a higher birth rate and total fertility rate compared to Kenya, indicating a younger population demographic. However, Kenya has a lower death rate and median age, suggesting a more stable population structure. Economy. Kenya boasts a higher GDP than Uganda, with a GDP of around $95 billion compared to Uganda's $35 billion. Both countries have VAT rates of 16%, indicating similarity in taxation policies. In terms of public debt, Kenya's debt stands at around 65% of GDP, whereas Uganda's is lower at approximately 42% of GDP. Uganda holds the advantage in terms of lower public debt burden. Kenya experiences slightly higher inflation rates compared to Uganda, with Kenya's inflation rate at around 5.6% and Uganda's at approximately 4.8%. Uganda has a higher unemployment rate than Kenya, with Uganda's rate at around 9.2% and Kenya's at approximately 7.4%. When it comes to GDP per capita, Kenya leads with approximately $1,800 compared to Uganda's $800. Both countries face challenges with youth unemployment, but Uganda's youth unemployment rate is higher at around 13.3%, while Kenya's stands at approximately 10.4%. Infrastructure. Kenya has higher internet access penetration compared to Uganda, with around 43% of its population having access to the internet, whereas Uganda's internet penetration is around 22%. Access to electricity is more widespread in Kenya, with approximately 75% of its population having access compared to Uganda's 26%. Kenya also boasts a more extensive railway network, covering approximately 2,778 kilometers, while Uganda's railway network spans around 1,244 kilometers. Both countries have multiple airports, with Kenya having a slight edge in terms of the number of international airports. Quality of life. Obesity rates are relatively low in both countries, with Uganda at around 5% and Kenya at approximately 7%. Poverty rates are higher in Uganda, with around 21.4% of the population living below the poverty line, compared to Kenya's 16.6%. Access to improved drinking water sources is higher in Kenya, with approximately 58% of the population having access compared to Uganda's 38%. Kenya has more physicians per 1,000 people compared to Uganda, indicating better access to healthcare services. Both countries have similar school life expectancies, with Uganda's at around 12 years and Kenya's at approximately 11 years. Geography. Uganda boasts a surface area of approximately 241,551 square kilometers, while Kenya covers about 580,367 square kilometers. Kenya holds the advantage in terms of land mass. When it comes to forest cover, Uganda shines with around 24% of its land covered in forests, compared to Kenya's 7%. This indicates Uganda's higher commitment to preserving its natural resources. In agricultural land, Uganda again takes the lead, with about 82% of its total land area utilized for agriculture, whereas Kenya utilizes around 48% of its land for the same purpose. This suggests Uganda's potential for agricultural productivity, Kenya has a significant coastline stretching approximately 536 kilometers along the Indian Ocean, whereas Uganda, being a landlocked country, does not have a coastline. This gives Kenya an edge in terms of maritime trade and tourism opportunities. In terms of water area, Kenya boasts various lakes, including Lake Victoria, Lake Turkana, and Lake Naivasha. Uganda, on the other hand, is home to Lake Victoria, the largest tropical lake in the world. Kenya holds a slight advantage here due to its diverse range of water bodies. What is the verdict now? While both Uganda and Kenya have their unique strengths and challenges, Kenya emerges as the more advantageous option in several key areas. With a larger economy, better infrastructure, lower poverty rates, and higher access to essential services, Kenya presents more opportunities for living, working, and investing. However, Uganda's abundant natural resources and younger population demographic also offer significant potential for growth and development. Ultimately, the choice between the two countries depends on individual preferences and priorities. What are your thoughts on this comparison? Let us know in the comments below.